One thing I thought interesting was the interaction between the three groups: the fairies, the townspeople, and the wealthier higher class, and how they interacted throughout the play and their stories tied together. One perspective I'd like to focus on is how weird love is, and this is shown especially through Helena. She originally was madly in love with Demetrius, and all she wanted to do was be with him, um, which is interesting, like how love can drive you to do things and sacrifice. And then all of a sudden, when Demetrius loved her back, she was taken back, and how sometimes if love is too much, it can scare people and not make them want to be with you. Um, and then the second is how other people have so much power on couples. The first example is Theus not allowing the marriage between Lysander and Hermia. If they were going to get married, Hermia was going to end up being killed, and how like that can alter love because they're not allowed to be together. And then the second is Oberon causing the love between Demetrius and Helena. Demetrius didn't do this, but an outside person caused this love. And then one question I had was why Helena was so in love with Demetrius in the first place. And there wasn't a direct answer, but through searching around, I saw an interesting one. And that was that Demetrius had originally loved Helena. And then by the time Helena fell in love with Demetrius, like back, Demetrius had moved on to Hermia, which I find interesting because if Demetrius had loved Helena at one point, why didn't she want to be with him when she loved him back? Because he had loved her at one point, and maybe she just rekindled that love. And then the one thing I think it showed about men is that they want power or control, and they'll get this control through power and mischief. Theseus used his power to try to keep like society's ways on how women should be married, and then Oberon wanted the Indian boy, so he used mischief to try to gain control of the Indian boy by using the flower. And then I think the fact that the play is only men limits the perspective of women on love and how they would genuinely feel in this situation. They're being portrayed, and their perspectives are portrayed from how men think women should think and how they want them to think, because of like how men saw themselves as higher during the times. So I think that kind of limits the true understanding of love from a female perspective. And then my questions were, what is a female's perspective if they were in Helena's situation? Would they love Demetrius back originally, if he had just like changed his mind and gone from like denying it to loving them back? And then the second I thought was interesting is if the flower juice is completely fictional, or if there was a flower that caused like love and hallucinations. And I was curious about this because Lysander mentioned that he wasn't fully remembering what happened towards the end. And I was just curious if this had some relation to a real flower or if it's just made up.